Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the Endless Runner. So in this episode, we actually create a dev screen. So right there, as you can tell, we got a nice fade to black. We've got this menu showing and also a play button for play again if you wish. And also a to menu button which returns us to the menu that does not work just yet. But we're gonna make it work in the next episode. So guys, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so let's get started. First thing we need is actually a menu. So, you see how we have our canvas over here, and we have the score container as well. Now, what we'd like to do is actually add another type of container. So we're going to add a def menu container. The way we're going to do this is by right-clicking on canvas, and let's start by adding an image again. Now, I'm going to be using this image for animation purpose. I want to do a fade to black basically. So all I have to do in this case is first let's rename that picture for def menu, and def menu is going to be a image that's stretched both horizontal and vertical. I'm going to put all the values on 0 so it fills the whole thing, and I'll also change the color for a black. Okay. So I've got my den menu. Now I gotta do an animation on that later on, that's fine. And on top of that, we're gonna be displaying the score and also adding 2 buttons for the play and the back to menu. So I will go right click on this object, UI, and I'll add a image. Actually, you know what? Let's just copy over the score container we had. Let's paste it inside of the def menu like so. And I'm going to rename this and score. Now this is going to be a slightly different. So I'm going to be putting this in the center, anchor it in the center, like so. Modify the width for say 500 by 100, 125, and my score is going to be displayed right there. So this is now and score as well. So let me just buff that a little bit, so the score might be like what, 5636. That's going to be your score right there in the middle of the screen, this big. Now again, we're still in the def menu. I'm going to right click here, add a button. So we add a button this time, and I'll just be putting it right about there. Now inside of that button, I'll be changing the text for play, and also change the font while I'm at it, why not? And I could be using, I have some custom buttons right here that comes in with my pack. I could be using these, but I think I'll actually end up using the normal one, the one that Unity gives me. So background, why not? Okay, so maybe just scale it up a little bit, make sure the height is like 50 and the width 200. Also scale up the size of that button, the size of that text. So play is about there, and this is going to be, make sure you rename this for play button. Now we're also going to make another one, so duplicate this, Control C on the keyboard, Control V. This is going to be the menu button, and we just move it down a little bit like this. Change the text inside of it for menu. Okay, so now whenever we hit play, this is what we're gonna see. Our game is running in the background, but we can't see this because, well, first, this def menu is there, it's active. And what I'd like to do is actually, when I die, I simply toggle on and off that menu like I'm doing right now, but we do it via code. So, the way we're going to do this is we are going to add a new script to that very def menu. So choose your def menu, go and add component, and I'm going to type in def menu, create a new C# script. Like we always do, I'm going to drag and drop this inside of the script folder to keep my project clean. And then after that, let's double click on def menu to open it up inside of Unity. Okay, so like always, we've got this clean page. First thing we need to do whenever the game starts, let's make sure that this game menu is turned off. So game object.setActive false. So whenever we boot the game now, we hit play, this will automatically turn off himself. Okay. Now, we also need a function that we'll be calling from outside, because remember, this is usually the menu that happens when we die, and we don't exactly know when we're gonna die on this script. We need to be told when this happens. So let's go down here and say public void toggle and skull, or end menu if you prefer. And let's actually send in the skull value as well. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go from the score script, this one, the score.cs, and we're going to be calling this function, and we're going to be sending the skull as well so we can modify it from our own score text. Okay, so we saw how to do it with getComponent. Okay, so we saw how to actually call the function using the getComponent.setSpeed. Let's actually use another approach this time. We could be using the send message, but what I feel like doing is we are going to declare up here. You see how we declare a public skull text over here? Let's make a public def menu actually. So our very own def menu that we've made, our very own component, we're gonna make it public and actually drag and drop it inside the inspector. I'm in the skull.cs here, by the way, and I'm going to go all the way down to the undef function, type in def menu.toggle and menu, just like this. Now this requires me to go on the skull, so player skull. Oh, I have a an error. I need to send in a float value, so send in the skull value. And when this compiles, I should have a new public field right here, the def menu field. So in order to assign this field, I need to find an object that has the def menu component. Now, on my canvas, I have an object that has the def menu. It's right here. That's the component. So back on player, I will drag and drop my def menu inside of here. Again, we now know that def menu is equal to this component. And from this component, I am calling the function called toggle and menu. So what exactly do we need to do now? We need to say GameObject.setActive to true, like this. Let's try it out. So hitting play on the keyboard, and I should be able to have my def menu pop whenever I die, like this. Now, of course, the score is pretty much false, so we need to fix that right about now. Lucky for us, we get the score as a parameter, so now all we gotta do is actually point toward the score text, the end score text. We're gonna do the same exact thing, so we're gonna go up here and say Unity Engine.ui, and we are going to get private. Actually, let's make it public so we can simply drag and drop public text score text. And we're going to say score text.text is equal to, and then we cast to an int again, so int score dot toString. Now let's make sure that score text is actually something. So if we go in the def menu, we drag and drop score text in there, like so. So we use this one. Now we could have done a get component in children because we're starting from def menu. We could have done a get component in children of type text, and it would have gotten us this one, this first occurrence. But if you had this the other way around, if you had this in a different order, so say play button would be first, then you would actually get the text of the play button and you'd be modifying that, so the score would have been written here. So you gotta be careful about this. Just know in which order your menu is if you're gonna use the get component, or else you could get all the components. So get component with an S in children's, and then it returns you an array of text. But we took the easy way out, so we basically just drag and drop the good field in there. Let me just change that for this. Doesn't really matter, we're never gonna see it, but it just helps me figure out things. Okay. So we should have the text written in the middle of our screen now, as you can tell, full. And we got a good start. Now, of course, our buttons, they don't work. The play and the menu button, they don't work. So we are going to create a new function for those. Let's type in public again. Let's make sure that they're public. Public void play again, or restart. Why not? So restart like this. And then we're going to write another one just below this. Public void. And which one was this? This was the to menu. So we're going back to the menu scene, which we don't have right now, but we'll have in a moment. Okay. So in both cases, we're going to be doing the same exact thing. Let me just go up here in my using statement. We're going to say using Unity Engine.scene management. Whoops. Scene management. And we're using this so we can use some manager right here. So we're going to do scene manager.load scene. And we are going to load scene manager dot get active scene dot name. Okay, so let me explain this really quickly. What we're doing right now is we're loading the scene. We're loading a scene. We don't know which. This takes in a string parameter. And now we're asking the scene manager again, what scene am I on right now? So basically what happens is whenever we're gonna hit that little restart button, that little play again button, it is going to just boot our scene over again. It's going to forget about all the stuff we've done so far and just boot our scene again, which is a good way to simulate a restart. Now, whenever we go to the menu, we're going to just copy and paste this line, but instead of saying this, we're going to say menu. This also works, and we could have simply written up here, we could have simply written game, and that would have worked, but I just like to do it this way because it doesn't really matter what my scene name is. Okay. So now having this, our buttons are still not going to work because they don't know about this function. They don't know that they should be calling these function. And the way you do this in Unity is you are going to click on your button, so right here, and this button has a button component. Now a little bit below every of those fields, there is a unclick box with a list down here. And whenever you click on that button, everything in that list is being executed. Now we're going to go ahead and just hit the plus sign. And then it asks us for an object. So we're going to drag and drop our def menu in there. And then it's going to list every single component of that def menu. As you can tell, def menu has a rect transform, has a canvas renderer, has an image, and also has a def menu component. If we go back here, game object, rect transform, canvas renderer, image, and also def menu. Now def menu is the one that we've created on ourselves, and we have some public function over there we can call, like restart. And just like this, we actually map this button to the restart function. Let's do the exact same thing for the menu button. So we drag and drop the def menu. We go under def menu, and there is a to menu function. Great. So now whenever we die, we should be able to reload the actual scene, this one. And as you can tell, it works just fine. Now the other one is not going to work because we don't have a menu scene just yet. But that's going to be fixed in the next episode. But right now, before we end this one, I'd actually like to create some kind of animation where it goes from alpha to black. Because right now we just get a quick, we see everything and then it turns black. And I don't really like that, so we're going to fix that by creating some kind of animation up here. Now what I like to do is go up here in my def menu and declare a public image that I call background image. Now my background image is pretty much the one that is on top of def menu, so this one right here. And I'm going to get a reference to it. We could simply do a get component in this case, but I'll just drag and drop this right here. And right now it takes this spot. Okay, so background image is equal to the black sprite. And what we're gonna do now is we are going to code something in the update, and I'll go fairly quickly on this one because we've covered that before. I'll declare a public bool is shown, shown like this, is equal to false at first, and whenever we toggle this, is shown is going to be equal to true. Now if is not shown, that means we're not showing the menu just yet. Is shown, we're not showing the menu just yet, so we can go ahead and just return. We haven't finished our game just yet, so we don't need to take care of that. And I'll actually go up here and declare a float as well, float transition, which is going to be equal to, of course, 0 to 0 at first. And then in the update, if I am showing, let's do transition plus equal time.delta time. And I'll say, okay, so the background image, the image right now that is black, dot color, is going to equal a lerp in between a 0 alpha color, so new color, and I'll just give in the 0, 0, 0, 0. So we'll lerp from a color that has nothing on it, not even alpha, to color dot black, which pretty much stands for 0, 0, 0, 1. And then the transition float is going to be at the end. So transition right there. Okay, I know that I went a little bit fast, but let's just try this out and hopefully everything works. So I'm going to collide with this. Oh, and we get some kind of flashing issue right there because there's a frame where this is not oh, we see we didn't get it this time. And we're actually allowed to move beforehand, so that's something else we need to fix. That's really weird. Okay, let's start by fixing the first issue where we had a we had the screen going black for a second, and then it went back to 0 alpha, and then it went gradually from there. So we're going to take this def menu and just put it on 0 alpha. This way we don't get the same error again. And now as far as our player is concerned, why is he allowed to move? Let's go check out in scripts player motor, and if is dead, then return, and then if time.time animation duration. Okay, so I'm assuming he's not able to move at first. Yep, he's not able to move, but then when we hit something, it reloads the scene, and time.time is no longer equal to 0. But that's a bug we're going to be fixing in the next episode, guys. So if you enjoyed this, or if you learned something, please leave me a like. Really appreciate it. And if you have any comment or question, you can also leave them in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. Other than that, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next episode.